Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard, welcome to the Finance Current Affairs session. Let's quickly start the session and discuss each and every weekly finance current affairs one by one. So this will be the agenda, guys. We'll be definitely discussing all the finance current affairs, concept discussion related to that, and some of the Economic Times article, plus some of the extra news I'll also give you guys for your homework purpose, right? Considering the priority. So the high priority news, definitely I'll be covering it myself, and rest of the things you can just have a quick reading. Now finance current affairs again is a very important thing for our examination. We all know the weightage of finance current affairs in general awareness portion, in the FM portion of our phase 2 examination as well. So these will be the finance current affairs which is covered in this particular PPT. I'm just giving you one liners, so just before 2-3 days of the examination you can just have a quick look at the one liners as well. Plus I will suggest you to make the notes. Let's suppose there's a particular news and I want to write down few of the concepts related to that news. So what I'll do is, what I'll be trying to definitely mention each and everything here itself in the first section, so that at the end of the day, just before the examination, what I can do is I can just have a quick look at the 2, 3, 4 pages and that's it, right? Per weekly I'm talking about, right? For every week you need to at least create these 2 pages. So it will be again good for you guys. You can at a glance cover a lot of finance current affairs. The first news for today is SBI secures 100 million line of credit from AFD for green financing. Again a topic which is quite in limelight, I can say, green financing. Okay, so State Bank of India has signed a line of credit here. 100 million is the amount with the AFD at the Gift City branch, right? Why? For the green financing efforts across the India. So this LOC is like SBI Bank can take out the money anytime it wants to and invest in the climate related projects. So this funding will be channelized into the climate change mitigation and adoption of the projects related to green finance basically, right? So if I talk about the line of credit facility, then it's nothing but a financial facility extended by one institution to the other. Just in this case particular, SBI Bank has taken this facility from the AFD. So SBI Bank can now draw 100 million anytime and invest in multiple green projects. That's what the crux of this particular news. And we all know that what is green financing. We have a dedicated video for green financing as well. Green financing is nothing but obtaining finance for funding the green projects, right? I'm obtaining finance for funding the green projects. That's what green finance is all about. And ESG integration. ESG again a topic related to green financing, very important for our upcoming RBI Grade B examination. Environment, social governance, right? So guys, please do cover green financing, ESG, every news related to green financing and ESG, plus the BRSR framework, a basic understanding of the BRSR framework. And it's already there on the YouTube channel. We have already posted it, right? That too completely free of cost for you guys. Next is Punjab National Bank launches India's first startup centric branch, right? So they have inaugurated the first startup centric branch. So this branch will be focused on development of the startups, I can say, right? It's in New Delhi and it's nothing but a one-stop banking solution tailored for the startup needs, I can say. So there will be access to credit, working capital, current account, customized different products for the betterment of and the development of startups in India, right? So we'll be covering only that part of the portion of the news that can be important for your examination. There are too many details, I can say, in multiple news, but we would like to make this particular session exam oriented ultimately. India may become the world's second largest economy by 2038. So that's a report which EY published recently, right? In PPP terms. Now what is PPP terms? Purchasing power parity. It's nothing but a theory. Purchasing power parity. So as per that analysis, India can become second largest economy, right? That's the analysis of EY. You need to know the concept of purchasing power parity. I think you are already studying this concept in economics, right? A method of comparing the economy by adjusting the price level difference. Now, why there is a price level difference? if I talk about USD, right? So 1 USD can buy multiple things in the Indian market. However, 1 rupee cannot buy that much quantity in the US market because of the purchasing power parity, right? Both the currencies do have different purchasing power, and that's what purchasing power parity is all about, right? Cabinet approves the extension and revamps the PM SVANidhi scheme till 2030. So as of now, the deadline was 31st December 2024. So they have now increased it to 31st March 2030, right? With a total financial outlay of 7,000 plus crore a year. And now there are some revised loan structures as well, like the first tranche loan has now been increased from the earlier 10,000 to the 15,000. The second tranche is now 25. Earlier it used to be 20,000. Now it is 25,000. And the third tranche is as it is only 50,000. Right. So they have made some changes as well. Plus they have introduced the UPI linked RuPay credit card as well. Right. So vendors who are now will be who repay their second loan successfully. If I am a vendor and I am able to repay the second loan successfully, I am eligible for a UPI linked RuPay credit card is what I can say, right? And here are some of the digital initiatives and expanded outreach as well. You guys are already knowing about the schemes multiple times. It has been covered by different faculty members at Oliveboard, right? So these are also the achievements so far. So at a glance, you can definitely have a quick reading of the achievements as well related to this particular scheme. Next one is the IIP growth accelerates to 4-month high in July 2025. By IIP, I mean Index of Industrial Production, right? Index of Industrial Production. Now, what is Index of Industrial Production? It's nothing but a composite index reflecting the performance of multiple sectors in the industry, like manufacturing, like mining, like electricity, right? There is always an index. Why do we have an index? Just to measure the entire industry. So for industrial growth, we are having Industrial Production Index, Index of Industrial Production, IIP. It rose to 3.5% year on year basis. So earlier it used to be 1.5%. As of now, it is 3.5%. We are talking about the year on year growth in July 2025. Now this is the strongest growth in the last 4 months, right? This is the strongest growth, and I can say please do remember this particular data. Manufacturing growth. The growth has surged to a 6-month high of 5.4% in July as of now. Okay. In July as of now, the growth rate is 5.4% for the manufacturing, right? And if you guys are doing the PIB analysis as well, you must have already covered this thing that India's industrial production records a growth of 3.5% in July, right? That too driven by 5.4% growth in the manufacturing sector. Right, and here is the key highlights of each and every sector, like which sector has performed well, which has not. So that's a quick understanding of this IIP. Next is India Africa bilateral trade crosses 100 USD billion in 24-25. So recently it was announced that India's trade with Africa has surpassed 200 billion US dollars in the financial year 2025. Earlier it used to be 56 USD. Now it has crossed 100 billion USD, right? So again, that's a landmark, and this shows the bilateral ties, I can say, or the development both the countries are having here, right? That's a strategic partnership is what I can say. So earlier we used to have a project partnership, and we have now moved to co-creating a shared future, right? Instead of just having a strategic partnership or a project partnership or a growth partnership, we are now co-creating a shared future is what was written in this particular news. And PMJDY has completed 11 years of the operation as of now. So financial inclusion success story, I can say that, guys, if I talk about the financial inclusion, PMJDY and UPI always comes at the top level, I can say, right? So it has greatly impacted the financial inclusion. I have already written each and everything, though not so important that it has completed 11 years. Obviously, हर साल ये कुछ ना कुछ complete करेगा, अगले साल 12 year, फिर 13 year. But you need to have a quick understanding of the major pointers of these kind of stuffs, and I think that already you are aware of the PMJDY, right? ये हम सबको पता होता है PMJDY के अंदर, प्लस DBT through JAM Trinity, so we need to know about this as well. Jandhan Aadhar Mobile, that's what JAM is all about. It's nothing but a trio, right? Jandhan Aadhar Mobile. Again, DBT was quite beneficial by using the JAM trio. DBT means direct benefit transfer, right? Subsidies and all हम यहाँ से transfer कर सकते हैं easily. India's GDP growth hit 5-quarter high of 7.8% in Q1 of financial year 2026. Again, we were not expecting so much growth. Everybody was expecting a growth rate of 6.7%. However, it has now surpassed the expectation by very much, I can say by a very good margin, right? So 7.8% in Q1 of financial year 2026. Again, the driving reasons behind this number is strong domestic demand, a very strong domestic demand, healthy private consumption plus elevated government spendings, right? So guys, I always tell you that what things you need to remember in terms of data. So अगर कोई बहुत ज़्यादा फ्लक्चुएशन है डेटा में, so that particular fluctuated data you need to know. The year end का data you need to know, and just before your examination month का data that you need to know, right? Plus the real gross value added is also at, the growth is also at 7.6% again. Earlier it used to be 6.8% that we discussed in the previous sessions, and now it is 7.6%. And here are the sector key highlights. Again, the service sector is leading the pack with 9.3% expansion. That's the highest ever in the 2 years, right? So it's led by the service sector. Gross FDI hits 4-year high in June, but net FDI is down. So if I talk about the gross FDI into India, surged to a 4-year high level, reaching $9.26 billion. Right, earlier it used to be 7.61, but if I talk about year on year basis, as of now it is $9.26 billion. However, the net FDI dropped by more than 50%. So as of now we are having $1.07 billion as the net FDI. Earlier we used to have in the same, if I talk about the previous year data, it was close to 2.24. Now it is just $1.07 billion. So it's close to 50% decline that we have observed in the net FDI data, right? What were the driving reasons? Outward FDI was one of the driving reason, and repatriation. These two reasons were the driving reasons, right? Increase in the repatriation and the outward FDI is the driving reason here. Again, if I talk about the key source countries, then over 3/4 of the FDI inflows are generated from these 3 countries: US, Cyprus and Singapore. In the previous session as well, I think the last month session as well, we have discussed this particular thing related to the key sourcing countries. Plus the leading sectors are computer services, manufacturing and constructions as of now, and the service sector is leading the pack again. Next, the development in India's balance of payment during the first quarter, April to June. So it's published in September, right? अगर सेकेंड क्वार्टर का डेटा पब्लिश हो जाता है आपके एग्जाम से पहले, सो डेफिनेटली हमको वो ज़्यादा पढ़ना पड़ेगा, बट एज ऑफ नाउ वी आर हैविंग द फर्स्ट क्वार्टर का डेटा ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2026, सो वी नीड टू हैव अ क्विक अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट दिस एज वेल. यू जस्ट नीड टू हैव अ बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द डेटा here, right? Do not do too much of number crunching. So if I talk about the India's balance of payment for the first quarter, they have given the key features. So India's current account deficit was 2.4 billion USD, which is 0.2% of the India's GDP, as compared with 8.6 billion USD in Q1 of 2025. So what we are doing is we are comparing the Q1 of 2025 as compared to the Q1 of 2026. So that's what a kind of comparison we are making here, right? And we can see that it has quite decreased as of now as compared to the previous quarter. It's quite now down. Year on year basis it has declined. Merchandise trade deficit was USD $68.5 billion in the Q1 of financial year 2026, which was higher than the previous quarter. I can say year on year basis, if I compare quarter on quarter basis, then 63 से लेके 68 बिलियन डॉलर यूएसडी तक यहाँ पे पहुंच गया था. पिछले साल में सेम क्वार्टर में इट यूज्ड टू बी 63, नाउ इट इज 68.5, राइट. Net service receipts again has expanded, and I can say that every year net service receipts are expanding as of now. Okay, so even if you are able to remember these three things, that will again be fine, right? That will again be fine, plus the foreign portfolio investment thing. Okay, that's fine. So it was recently published on the 1st of September, guys. We are having too much of data, I can say, because we are having so many reports, so many data. But do remember, if I talk about reports, they are nothing but a compilation. 60 to 70% report you can say is a compilation of finance current affairs only. Whatever we have read in the entire year, a report is nothing but a consolidated summary of all the finance current affairs only. Plus there are some new things as well, definitely, right? So if you are having a strong finance current affairs, I can say, if you are studying it from, I can say, like 6 to 8 months, finance current affairs, you will be quite sorted in the examination, is what I can say. The only thing standing between you and the general awareness thing is multiple revision. Multiple revision is very, very essential, I can say, in the examination, just before the examination. So now RBI warns US tariff, demand risk amid inflation outlook. So I can say that we are very well within the control, I can say, in terms of inflation. So RBI has flagged here about the US tariff situation, and that is causing the global trade uncertainty. So definitely it can impact the inflation targets as well. As of now, we are having a inflation target of plus minus 2% on 4%, right? That's our inflation targeting approach, 4% plus minus 2%, and we are very well around the lower band of the inflation targeting approach as of now. So this is just a cautious approach that RBI is stating here. Next, Aditya Birla Capital Digital has received the RBI's in principle approval for the online payment aggregator. Again, we have discussed these kind of news multiple times. Not so important for the examination, but you need to be aware of what online payment aggregator is all about, right? What is online payment aggregator? So guys, एक merchant को, एक businessman को बहुत सारे payments लेने पड़ते हैं अलग अलग banking channel से. He needs to collect multiple payments through multiple channels, banking channels. So online payment aggregator ये facilitate करवा देता है, right? Online payment aggregator is the facilitator of these kind of transactions for the merchants. Before moving ahead, guys, I would like to tell you that we have launched a crash course for your RBI grade B preparation. This will be the batch 4. This will include both your phase 1 and phase 2. So in case if you are seeking for mentorship, you can definitely join this course. Live classes, detailed notes, mock test, everything is covered in this particular course. Next one, Jio payments. Again, Jio is disrupting the finance industry like anything, right? Jio is disrupting the finance industry like anything. So I can say that here also Jio Payment Bank has launched a Saving Pro. Now this is a new feature. This is a new saving account, I can say. This is India's first auto investing savings account. The problem with India is most of the people are definitely having funds in their account, but whether they are using that fund properly, no. I can see a problem of idle funds in the saving accounts in India. So that's what Jio is trying to capitalize. What they have introduced is India's first auto investing saving account. So automatically, if you are having a balance of XX amount, let's suppose any amount, right? You have the option to set as well. Above that balance, whatever fund is there will automatically be switched to overnight mutual funds. Now, what is overnight mutual funds? They are safe asset class, I can say, in the mutual fund as well. They are safer asset class. These are the instruments you can invest overnight in. It's just like saving account only. However, they are giving a higher return as compared to the saving accounts, right? So that's what the new initiative of Jio is all about. Not to keep the capital idle, but to make the money work for us. And that's how we use multiple students, multiple investors. I have seen that they are using the overnight mutual funds instead of just keeping their money in the saving account. Let's suppose I want to keep my money in the saving account for the next 20 days. So it's better option that I can keep the money in overnight mutual funds. In the long period of time, I can say that they will fetch you more money than the saving bank account, right? So that's a new feature that Jio Payments Bank has launched as of now, and the deposit limit as of now is 2 lakh per customer, right? Payment banks are, we all know that the payment banks are capped at 2 lakh per customer. If you are having an account in the payment bank like Jio Payment Banks, right, Airtel Payment Banks, ATM Payment Banks, you can keep maximum 2 lakh rupee per customer. That's a limit on the payment banks basically. SEBI imposes intraday position limit in the index option. This is from the SEBI circular, right? I think it came 2-3 months back, and we have covered it in very detailed manner, like what is the intraday position limit, why we are imposing it, why the SEBI is imposing it on the index option, right? And it is applicable on the 1st of October 2025. So that's final, right? In this particular thing, what will happen is the intraday net position, which is also called as futures equivalent, will be capped at 5,000 crore per entity. We have already discussed it. We have done question as well, right? MCQ questions as well on this particular news. The gross intraday exposure will be capped at 10,000 crore. So please do remember. And the most important thing from this particular news will be monitoring mechanism of SEBI. So at least the stock exchanges are mandated to at least take 5 random snapshot of the intraday positions. So 4 random snapshots, right? So the stock exchanges like NSE and BSE, they are now required to take snapshots. What kind of snapshots? Related to the intraday positions during the trading, right? That's compulsion, and we have done a question also related to this. This particular thing, the concept of taking 4 snapshot can directly come in your examination as well, right? High probability question is what I can say. Plus do remember, it has started from the 1st of October 2025. You need to make a net position of 5,000 crore per entity. Gross intraday exposure can be maximum at 10,000 crore, right? And definitely if you are making any kind of breaches, there are certain surveillance mechanism and penalties as well that will attract. India's manufacturing PMI. What is PMI? Purchasing Managers Index, which is quite nowadays in news. So the PMI has now surged to 59.3 in August 2025. So in August 2025 month, just the previous month, 59.3%. July May it used to be 59.1. Now it is 59.3. So I can say that there is a slight increase in this particular index, and this is the strongest improvement in the last 17 years is what written here, right? Now this is because the production volumes have increased fastest, I can say, in this particular period. So that's what the driving reason is, right? There were new orders, there were export orders. So that's what the driving reason is. Next is the quarterly basic statistical return BSR1 on the credit by the scheduled commercial bank. So this is a release data by the RBI on the website. This is related to June 2025 month. So this data basically captures multiple things such as occupation, activity, organizational sector of the borrower, type of the account, interest rate, etc. So here we can see the growth in the bank credit, right? So mostly it's in the declining phase only, I can say. Mostly it's in the declining phase only, but the highest growth I can say as of now is in personal loan, depicted by this blue line, 12.3%, right? That's the total. Basically the dotted line is the total, and then we are having in the industry and agriculture, right? So that's the basic growth rate I can say in multiple sector. So here we can note that the personal loan have continued to grow faster than the overall credit as of now, with which we can see in the chart as well, right, that the personal loan is in the growth stage as compared to the different kinds of loans. So all the commentaries related to each and every loan is there, plus the public sector bank recorded higher credit growth than the private sector banks. So the public sector bank has recorded a growth rate of 11% as of now, which is quite higher as compared to the private sector banks, which is just 8.3% on now, and the foreign bank is 8%. Okay. And similarly, Reserve Bank of India has released the BSR2 on deposits with the scheduled commercial bank, right? So here we can see the deposit growth, which is close to 11.3%. So we are having term deposit, which is having the biggest share is, as of now we can say, right, as a percentage at 62.2%, which is higher than the saving and the current. Current ka काफी कम share है, and saving का भी we are having 28% share as of now, right? So term deposit has recorded a growth rate of 13% as of now as compared to others. Like saving account is having the growth rate of, saving deposits is having the growth rate of 5.4%. So I can say term deposit का share भी सबसे बड़ा है, plus the growth rate is also more than the other accounts. Nearly 70% of the term deposits accounted for maturity, original maturity buckets of 1 to 3 years. So 1 to 3 years maturity bucket is there for the 70% of the term deposits accounts. अब यहाँ पे क्या बहुत सारी details आ जाती है, but you need to remember only the important things, जैसे that you can remember the thing that the deposits, if we talk about the deposits, then term deposit is having the highest composition and the growth rate as well, right? So the composition is here close to 62% and the growth rate is 13.5%. Right, बाकी का इतना सारा data I don't think आपको एक data you guys need to remember, that's not required for you guys. Okay. Next is the ownership of the deposits with the SCBs, scheduled commercial banks. So here we can say that the household sector has the maximum contribution as of now, right, in the share of deposits, deposit ownership. Then we are having the non-financial corporations, and then the general government and financial corporation data has also been mentioned. So we can remember that the household data is the highest, followed by the non-financial corporations as of now. Okay. Now there are some Economic Times articles, right? We have covered this already, but yeah, I can say that you need to have a quick reading regarding these things. It can be helpful in your descriptive examination plus your objective type questions as well. India reduces. Here we can see that the India has reduced the US T-bill exposure and has increased the gold holdings in the FX reserves. So in the forex reserves, we are having multiple things, multiple currencies, right? Different T-bills of different central banks, I can say, plus gold and silver holdings as well. So I can say here that RBI has increased the gold holdings as of now and have reduced the T-bill exposure, right? So it can definitely help you in any kind of forex related questions. So I can say that whenever we are reading a good newspaper, try to mark some of the lines from that particular article, so that you can guys use it in the descriptive question. Just mark and write down few of the lines that are helpful for writing in any kind of descriptive question as well, because in RBI grade B we can always prepare hand in hand. If I talk about the phase 1 and phase 2, it's not like that कि phase 1 की preparation will be separate from the phase 2 की preparation. ये दोनों हमेशा साथ में ही होती है, right? So again, it's a hedging strategy. We all know that gold is a kind of asset class which is the perfect hedge for inflation, right? We can also call it as golden hedge. यहाँ पे एक term use हुई थी golden hedge, right? Because that's the real money again. That's the real money. Plus SEBI नहीं, SBI, State Bank of India raises $500 million via overseas bond sale. So again, State Bank of India has raised $500 million through a 5-year overseas bond sale, marking it first such issuance after the S&P sovereign rating outlook upgrade. तो अभी recently S&P sovereign rating outlook upgrade हुआ था. After that we can see that this is the first time that we have raised an amount of $500 million, that too through a 5-year overseas bond. तो definitely rating में improve आया था, sovereign ratings में there was an improvement, and again it will contribute to more and more such foreign fund raise here. Coupon क्या होता है? What do you mean by coupon? Coupon is nothing that whatever amount you will be paying on the bond, or if you are an investor, then you must be receiving the coupon rates. So you need to make regular coupon payments on the bonds here, right? India's manufacturing PMI, I think this particular news was repeated. We have already covered this particular thing, right? So this is regarding the India's manufacturing PMI hit. So guys, the most important, okay, so first let me just tell you quickly, just give me a second. I have given some extra dose as well for you guys, okay? So these kind of finance current affairs, you will be quickly have a reading from downloading this particular PDF, okay? Do download this PDF and have a quick reading of the extra dose of the finance current affairs. Plus we have launched the AIR1's mentorship batch as well, so definitely you can check out this as well. This is including the books. If you are having any kind of query, then you can always reach out to me on this particular Telegram channel. Now let me just mark some of the important news, I can say the most important news that you need to be aware of. The very first thing is related to IIP, okay? Green financing again. This news is not so important, but the topic of green financing is very, very important, right? India's GDP, gross FDI and net FDI, Geo Payment Bank related news, SEBI related news, very, very important. This particular news is very, very important. PMI index. Yeah. So these, some of the news will be the most important news from today's session. Okay. So don't ignore at least these news. They are having a high chance of coming in the examination. So thank you so much guys for attending the session. See you soon tomorrow, 8 PM Friday, for the finance MCQ session. Bye bye. Take care.